Good, well, I'd specify a time of day if I could tell, but the rhythmic shift of a cotton candy pink sky brings me memories of carnivals, and the pain behind a painted stranger's smile, and no idea of what time of day it is, so I'll simply say, Good day, Night Vale. This is Delilah Woods, and I'm still finding my way around, so I hope you'll join me for another installment of Living in Night Vale. Today I think I met death, but we'll talk about that later. I've been in Night Vale for a week now, and as I've previously mentioned, keeping track of time is difficult. The sky gives no indication of the hours of the day, and the sun feels as though it sets when it pleases. I looked toward other methods, but they proved fruitless as well. Firstly, clocks don't work here. Nor do they exist, it seems. Every time I think I've seen a clock, upon further examination it proves to be anything but. So far, I've counted 14 beetles whose clicking wings resemble a second-hand's monotonous tick, 5 mounted pieces of cardboard simply painted to resemble a clock face, and one singular eyeball, bulging and leaking as it's forced its way through a hole in the wall. Its frenzied gaze shifts back and forth like a metronome, but don't even think about trying to use it to count the seconds. I watched, and what couldn't have been even a second in real life, I can only assume, stretched by like eons. I felt my skin shrivel and tighten until my skeleton fit snugly between the liquefied muscle and my vacuum-sealed epidermis. I felt my hair grow for miles, becoming brittle at the ends, and racing my roots in a race between decay and birth, and felt the wisdom of millennia encompass all that I was and all that I ever would be, and after what felt like the dawn and death of 100 civilizations, I blinked, and was once inside the bathroom of the local Wendy's once more. So, suffice to say, keeping track of the day has been difficult. I'm even recording this from a new phone, as mine exploded when I attempted to open up the clock app. I was miraculously unharmed, but just before my phone exploded, it disappeared, and when I could see again, I saw smoke emanating from my kitchen pantry. My new phone is not too bad, though. It came alongside my new Citizens pack, tucked along some mandatory reading, an orange poncho, and several other bits and bobs. It's a bit different from my other phones, as it seems to not have a make, model, or manufacturer, and sometimes whispers to me in what I've decided to assume to be ancient Sumerian, but I was told they offer classes for it at the college. I still haven't found a job yet. There's some places in town that have started to call my interest, but I'm waiting for the perfect thing. If I'm starting life fresh, I don't plan to settle again. I've heard the local radio station hires interns, but there's also a record store hiring. For now, I've decided to keep whoever's listening in the loop. I figured since all of my pencils were confiscated and ritualistically sacrificed in my front lawn, tossed into a fire pit crackling with the flames of every color and the echoed chants of the city council, I have to find another medium. Between this and climbing atop the local gas station, screaming my tales for the citizens of Night Vale to hear, my phone, with its ancient whisperings and sometimes fragrant, emanating fumes, would do just fine. Tomorrow, I think, though, I'm going to hit the pavement and see what Night Vale has in store. Classes are offering enrollment soon, and my fridge is empty, save for a container, unmarked, quivering, mysterious, and strongly resembling goulash, which I hate. Speaking of a job, though, I really think I'll need one soon. I decided today, between my hunt for the evidence that time ever existed in the first place, I would explore my complex. As I said before, my home, a simple one-bedroom apartment, is almost identical to what it was before. I noticed a few differences here and there, the most obvious being the presence within my kitchen pantry, but other than a creaky floorboard in the living room, and the sense of nostalgia one feels for a time period they never lived in my bathroom, it was effectively the same place. Even the complex itself seemed almost identical. As previously stated, this is where I think I met, we'll say, death. Attempting to check out the mailbox that was always in sight, but never in reach, I was approached by something. Now, I don't think he was actually death, as he didn't carry the aura about him that I thought he would, but the being towered over me, clad in dark robes, with nothing but his eyes visible past the darkness. I know what you're thinking. But Delilah, this is obviously just one of the resident hooded figures. Well, not only am I worried about how normal that absurd statement feels, but I can assure you this was not. First of all, the hooded figures, to the best of my knowledge, have never spoken. And secondly, from what I've observed, they don't smell like stale cookies. The figure loomed over me for some time, encapsulating me with his presence, in his overwhelming being, watching me, rooting me to my place, not allowing me to move, breathe, blink, and then, in a softly accented voice, one I can't seem to place, but sounds vaguely Asian, that I can only akin to a man in his 20s, simply said, "Rent is due the middle of next month." With that, the impossibly large figure slinked away into the hallway of the complex, and I took my first breath of stale, hot, dry desert air since he arrived. So, if anyone has heard of job postings, please contact me. I don't have a cell phone number, but I've found that if you whisper into the wind early in what can only be considered the morning, I hear it sometime in the afternoon in my left ear. On lighter news, with what money I do have, I stopped at Big Rico's Pizza. In my new citizen packet, it said it was mandatory to eat there at least once a week, so I figured I would take the chance while I still had some money to my name. It's not what I was expecting. A plaque stating that Big Rico's Pizza had been proudly wheat and wheat byproduct free hung proudly in the entrance, and so I simply enjoyed a bowl of stewed tomatoes. Definitely not the worst thing I've ever eaten, so I guess I'll put the word out. If you happen to listen to this audio journal, ravings of a mad woman just before her inevitable and self-destructive spiral into insanity, whatever it is, it endorses Big Rico's Pizza. But night is settling in. I sit in the window, 3 stories above this strange world, with the wind blowing into my apartment, carrying with it its strange cries and whispers. I lean back against wadded-up pillows and old blankets that carry with them more nostalgia than warmth, and I sip coffee from a cracked mug while I try and sort out this new life I found myself living in. But thank you, listeners. If you're out there, if I have you, I can't see you, and I know you aren't here with me, at least physically, but I feel like with you, and with Night Vale, I can really start over. I can make more of my life than the 9-to-5 monochromatic, numb existence I was convincing myself was good enough. Though Night Vale is strange and confusing, and at times even scary, I feel more comforted and welcome than I ever have before. This is Delilah Woods, and as I sit here, under the shifting night sky, I wish you all a good night, and I'll see you next time.